What's up, guys? So I got a Onewheel GT and a Onewheel Pint in front of me. We love riding these things. They're so much fun, and I just hope to give you a few pros and cons for each of them as to what you might look to get if you're looking to get a Onewheel right now. So let's start with the GT, and let's start with the cons of the GT. The only con for me on the GT is the price point. So I get why it's expensive. It's a bigger machine, it's a bigger board, it does more, it's faster, it's more capable. So the price is justified. But I get why you would maybe want to look towards the Pint when it's about half the price of what a GT is now. The second con of the GT is because it is a bigger machine. If you're a smaller person, like for my wife or for my little brother, they have a hard time even picking this up at all and moving it around. So if you're a smaller person or a kid, they're definitely gonna have a much easier time hauling around a Pint than they would a GT. The pros of the GT are pretty obvious. It's a bigger, more expensive board for a reason. It's more comfortable to stand on, like I'm a size 11 shoe, and my feet don't actually hang off both edges like it does on the Pint, so it's more comfortable to ride long distance. It's obviously faster, it does better off-road, whereas if I try and off-road my Pint at all with how big I am, it kind of just sinks into the grass or dirt or whatever, and it doesn't get me many places. But the GT is actually a lot more capable off-road for anyone's size, but especially someone like me. I weigh 210 pounds. I'm 6'2". Definitely the GT does a lot better speed-wise and off-road. It's more capable that way for sure. All right, let's walk through some cons of the Pint. So obviously your range is a lot more limited, so you will be charging a little bit more. My toes and my heels hang off a little bit. After 10 to 15 minutes of riding, my feet will start to hurt pretty bad, and I gotta hop off for a second, walk around, whereas the GT is a lot more comfortable in that respect. I'm a big enough guy that the Pint does a fine job on the roads. If I'm on pavement and paved stuff, the Pint does a great job. It's fun, it's playful. But if I try and do any off-roading at all, the Pint just doesn't really have the power to push me around. So if I'm on grass or on dirt or anything, my Pint has a really hard time getting me places. All right, so some pros for the Pint. It's obviously about half the price, so from a price point, that was a big deal to me because at the time I was able to buy 2 Pints for the price of what a GT would cost me, and now my wife and I both have Pints rather than us just sharing one GT, if you're looking at it from a price point perspective. So it's definitely been worth it, even though I wish I was riding a GT all the time. To be able to ride with my wife all the time when we're riding makes it worth being on the smaller board to be able to do it with other people more often. Another pro is it's obviously lighter and more nimble, so it's a little more playful at slower speeds. It's lighter, so it's easier to get in and out of cars. If you are somewhere where you could benefit from it being smaller, like if you're in a city or something, they are a little bit easier to hide in places and carry around with you. And back to the price point, like you can't beat the price being so much lower on the Pint. Obviously you're getting a lot less board, but it's still been great, and I would much rather have the Pint and be able to ride with my wife and my friends than not have anything at all. I don't have a Pint X with me, but I do have friends that have had it. I didn't notice a big power difference in the Pint X, but I get why you would want that extended range. Most of the time the range is fine because I don't do big rides on mine super often. But when we are down in like southern Utah doing bigger rides, like with how much I weigh, I chew through a Pint battery pretty quick. So a Pint X would be a pretty sweet gig if you were looking into a Pint. But the normal Pint has been fine as well. So hopefully that made sense. That was a little bit of a walkthrough through both the GT and the Pint. When it comes down to it, if price isn't an issue and you're able to pick this thing up and move it around, I would go with the GT for sure. But you also won't be disappointed with getting a Pint. The price point's better, it's easier to carry around, and a great rig. So obviously, I'm a big Onewheel fan. They're both great boards. Hope that helps you make your decision.